Hey everyone, my name is Rick and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm home in my garden. It's actually Saturday afternoon. I decided to film today because on Sunday I usually have a hard time getting out of bed, and then by the time I film, edit the video and upload the video, it takes too long for some reason for me to upload videos on Sunday. So I decided to shoot today. So I'm gonna have a little garden walk, and then I'm going to show you some 10 Hoyas that I selected for you. Some are new, and some of the Hoyas I've had and they either are not doing so well, and I'll talk about that, and some of them are doing better than I thought. So let me just take you around the garden a little bit. I have one Hoya over here that is such a giver, and she's one of the more common Hoyas. You can if you're going to go to Home Depot or Lowe's and you're going to find a Hoya, a lot of times it's going to be this one. And there's a reason for it. It's really a relatively easy one to grow and to bloom. This is Hoya species Affinis Burtonae. And this one, I think it's been blooming for at least 6 months, and it's always covered in flowers. So as you can see, why it's a popular Hoya, and why it's pretty common, because it's a fast grower, and it's really a giving, easy Hoya to grow. So let that airplane go by. We got some here in Florida this time of year. The Phalaenopsis, usually if you have them in your backyard, this is when they start to bloom, when the cooler weather arrives. And actually this December, since I've gotten back from Thailand, the weather's been exquisite, and it's been probably lows in the 60s and highs all the way up to 80. So it's perfect weather for being outside. So I've been doing some projects, nothing really major, because it took me a while to acclimate after getting back from Thailand. The jet lag is very difficult. 12-hour time change takes a while. So this is my favorite Hoya australis. It's like an albo marginata, but sometimes it puts out these really nicely variegated leaves. So the back of this Hoya is pretty fuzzy and pretty glabrous in the top. And these leaves are pretty cute. So it's not really that fussy, and the leaves get pretty thick. So if it's a decent sized plant and the leaves are thick, if you forget to water it a few times, it's not gonna suffer too much. So that's Hoya australis, albo marginata. Some of the leaves are even like half moon. Pretty cool, huh? And not much else going on over here. There is this Hoya. This is Hoya pulchra. And it has a really pretty flower. It's like this really interesting pink lilac color. And these leaves, when it gets a little more sun, they get really a nice copper color. And it's been here since the storms, and it really didn't suffer too much, but it hasn't grown. So I think I'm going to put it back in the greenhouse when temperatures, I think next week, they're going to start dropping down into the 50s at night. So it's probably going to go in the greenhouse. And this is my albo marginata multiflora. This little guy has bloomed for me. I wasn't taking really good care of it because I was gone, and it suffered a little bit. You can see there was some underwatering, and this Hoya doesn't like to dry out. So yeah, it's coming back, and it's putting out some really nice variegated marginata variegated leaves there. So let me just show you a few other things in the backyard, and I'll get to the Hoyas, and maybe I'll take you around the neighborhood a little bit. This is my Lacanosa, silver, if you want to call it that. They're coming up with all these cute little names for these, so I never can keep up with what name they're giving it to these lacanosis, and actually this one was called Croniana at one time, so I don't know if it's still valid, so that's still in debate. But this is a really nice Hoya. It keeps blooming. It has like 50 or 60 peduncles. It's really fragrant. Yeah, it's one of the fastest growers here in the garden. So yes, so back here Hoya wise, I have the Retusa. I think I showed you guys that last time, and it seems like I thought it only started blooming with 1 or 2 flowers, and then upon closer inspection I realized that she has many buds, and they're opening at different times. So this Hoya has probably been blooming like this for at least 2 months. And back here, I think you've seen my Erythrina. She's climbing all the way up here. And that's my Nonuch. And this is one of my Phylloras. They start to look a little drabby this time of year because the humidity is kind of low. And this is a Hoya diversifolia from Elniticus, Philippines. As you can see, the leaf is quite large and very dark. Pretty attractive. So, and I just want to show you this Vanda, and I'll get to the Hoyas. And I think I showed this last week. And let's see, the color is pretty intense. Really nice, beautiful purple. And this is the tag. Dr. Anik. It's actually nice filming this later in the day. It's a little cooler. It's probably 75 degrees out, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And yeah, so let me show you the Hoyas. This is Hoya fungi, and actually it's one of my favorite Hoyas for foliage and for ease of growing it. It doesn't mind, even when temperatures drop down into the lower 40s, it doesn't miss a beat. It's a cooler growing Hoya. I suspect it's from a higher altitude. You can see it has really pretty flowers, and it's December and it's blooming. So yeah, it's relatively easy, pretty fast growing. I started this plant as a 2-node cutting at the beginning of the summer, so you can see it's a pretty good sized plant. I actually had to move it into a 6-inch pot. I don't usually do that. I usually have most of my Hoyas in 4-inch pots, but this one definitely deserved a bigger pot because it grows so fast. And this is Hoya Dekii crossed with Chicken Farm. This Hoya is actually a fast grower. This has been growing from a 2-node cutting back in March. You can see, I don't know if the camera can pick up, but it's actually a very splashy cross. A lot easier to take care of than Hoya Dekii. I find Hoya Dekii, when the temperatures drop down below 60 degrees, it's a little tricky to grow. But this cross, maybe it's the hybrid vigor, it can deal with a lot more neglect and lower temperatures. So this is Hoya Dekii cross Chicken Farm. Pretty easy to grow, splashy, and actually fast grower, as you can see. And this is Hoya stenophylla. I really like this Hoya because it has a very unique growing habit. It's almost like a weeping Hoya. All the leaves kind of point down. It's quite easy to grow for me here in Florida. Takes a good amount of neglect, and it doesn't seem like it would because the leaves do appear to be thin and fragile. But this Hoya was actually here during Ian, hanging out there in the entrance. It got whipped around quite a bit, and it may have even ended up on the floor. I'm not sure. But yeah, it took a licking, but it's coming back and it's putting out new growth, and it has like these really long vines. So I have not been able to flower this Hoya. From what I hear, it's a very short-lived flower, and it probably is a higher altitude Hoya, so I might be waiting a few more years for this thing to bloom, if I ever do. Some Hoyas are just not easy to bloom here in Florida, like Hoya globulosa and some others. They do require like long periods of cooler weather for it to bloom, and I suspect this is one of those. This Hoya is a cross between Carrii and Erythrina. I think I showed you guys this a few times if you go back and look at my prior videos, but I just love this Hoya. It has a really nice growing pattern, a very attractive coloring to the leaves. It has really nice veins. This Hoya, I have it labeled as SS 007-021. It's a very attractive Hoya and very easy to take care of. It has that hybrid vigor again, and it grows really well when it's really hot and humid. And these two are both Hoya sanguinensis. One is from Malaysia, this one here, and this one is from Borneo. The flower differs. It's a beautiful white flower with a very, very dark red-purple center. It's a very attractive flowering Hoya. The leaves are not that spectacular on that one. On this one, actually, they can get pretty splashy if that's your thing, but this is one that you would definitely grow for the flower, because it's really stunning. And if I can find a flower of it online, I will post it when I edit the video. So this is Hoya sanguinensis from Malaysia and from Borneo. And now the problem child Hoya that I've gotten, I think about 3 or 4 months ago. And this is Hoya obscura variegated. When I got it, it didn't look so hot, and then it looked like it was getting some root mealies, and I treated them with some granules. And it seems like it's better now, and it's putting out new growth, and the new growth tip looks good. So yeah, so this Hoya has given me a few headaches, but it looks like it's on the mend, and hopefully it'll grow into a really large, beautiful plant. I really like those leaves. And Swiffer decided to join me out here. She's been napping in her bed all afternoon, so she came out to see what I'm up to. And the next Hoya is a Hoya that I just got yesterday, and I had not ever heard of this Hoya, Hoya GPS 88. Someone had asked me if I had it for sale, and I didn't know what it was. And then a friend of mine in Hawaii, she offered it to me, and here it is, Hoya GPS 88. The leaves, you can see, like they're about the size of my fingernail, a little longer, but they have nice a little bit of veining. Let's see if I can zoom in on there. And the leaves are thick, so. And this cutting actually came rooted, and it looks like it's going to do well. I have it in a humidity box, and I put a little bit of sphagnum on top of my regular rooting mix, which is coconut husk and perlite. And as you can see, it looks pretty happy, and I think it'll do pretty well. And I'll keep you updated on how this Hoya will turn out. I have no idea what the flower looks like or anything else about it, but I'm just thrilled to have it. Hoya GPS 88. And this is Hoya IML 1038. As you can see, this one over here is grown in a shadier spot. This one gets quite a bit more light, so it's a little more pale. The beauty of this Hoya is the leaves get really thick and they get these really nice veining and that big pronounced midrib there. So this is the leaves grown in the shade get to be a little bigger. If you get a lot more light, usually in general the leaves get to be smaller, but this is actually a very attractive, pretty leaf. It can take a lot of neglect. It was listed, I think I mentioned before, as Hoya emolina IML 1038, but it's actually a Hoya verticillata from Java. And this is Hoya micrantha splash. I have never seen one this splashy. This came from Jack in Thailand, Wampum Garden. And I will have some of these to offer for sale soon when I come back from my trip. So you can see this is actually a very thick-leafed Hoya. So yesterday when I shot my video on Saturday, I thought I had hit record for this last part, but I didn't. So here I am Sunday morning. It's about 66 degrees. It's a little chilly for me, but I'm going to reshoot this part, which is the Hoya irisae, and then I'm going to go out into the neighborhood and do a little neighborhood walk. So this is Hoya irisae, and it's definitely one of my favorite Hoyas right now. I got this Hoya from Sarisa about 3 months ago. It had peduncles and it formed buds, but as the plant was acclimating, the buds busted, and it took another few weeks before it put out new ones. These flowers are quite unusual for a Hoya. They're really beautiful, and if you look at the corona, see if I can get a closer up. The tips of the corona point up and form like this crown-like structure, which is really kind of cool. And if you look, the flowers are really like this nice yellow-orange color and more greener towards the center. And if you look at the back and the pedicels of the flower, let's see if you can see it, they're like pretty much green. Very unusual Hoya species. It's a epiphytic shrub, and it's similar to like Lochii multiflora occultata in its growth habit, and Amarita as well. Sometimes it reminds of me of Amarita, but it's definitely unusual. The flowers are totally different and unrelated to these Hoyas that I just mentioned. So this is Hoya irisae. It was first collected in the jungle by Ulysses Ferreras in a lower mountain region of Luzon Island, Philippines, and it was named after his sister Iris Flores Kamal, who takes care of his Hoyas when he goes out into the jungle and does field work. So that's quite fascinating. Yeah, it's one of my favorite Hoyas right now. Let me see, it does seem to have a flat stem, similar to Amarita. It's not like a round stem, so it's kind of very similar to Amarita. So yeah, this is Hoya irisae. I got it from Sarisa about three months ago, and here it is in full bloom. And now let me just walk out into the neighborhood a little bit and show you what's going on. This is Florida in December. We are lucky that this time of year it doesn't get very cold. The average low for like even in the middle of winter is about 55, but a lot of times it's in the 60s for lows. Lately it's been 65 for lows, 80 degrees for highs. So it's been really a nice December, and hopefully it'll continue. I think next week it's going to drop down to the mid-50s. Yeah, I don't think I've showed you guys this path that I made, I think last winter, and I planted a bunch of bromeliads here, and I mounted some orchids on the tree here, and some of them are reblooming, so that's kind of nice. And I have a Discadia hirsuta over here. It's doing pretty good. So yeah, this is here. It's pretty quiet. It's about 7:55 in the morning here in St. Petersburg, Florida. So let me go down the neighborhood and show you guys what's going on. So my neighborhood is actually very green. There's a lot of gardens. A lot of people are into gardening. There's a lot of old oak trees like this, and if you look closely at this tree, it is covered with golden pothos. You can see, and they are way up into the tree. Some leaves up there get to be like 2 feet long of this golden pothos. So yeah, everyone is into gardening. Some people xeriscape, some people use more tropicals. But yeah, most people do take pride in working in their front yard and making it look nice. This neighborhood was started in the 20s, and most of these houses are, a lot of these houses are Sears catalog kit houses. Craftsman bungalows, as you can see, and there's some adobe style houses, and some people do landscape, xeriscape, so they don't have to use a lot of water. So if you do your garden like this in Florida, you don't have to water as much, which is nice. So you have some agaves, some palm trees, and plumerias. You don't usually have to water those. Yeah, it's a really nice neighborhood. Actually, like I was saying, it was started in the 20s, 30s. Most of these houses were built then. And then in the 80s, it became kind of dilapidated. Nobody wanted to move here, and these houses probably sold for like $35,000, $40,000 for, you know, a 2-3 bedroom house. And then all the artists started moving in and fixing these up, and it became quite a desirable place to move. So in the last 20 years, a lot of people have been moving here and fixing up these old houses. So, as you can see, there's a lot more xeriscaping here. Lots of bamboo. And a lot of these plants don't really need much water at all. Just the rain that we get in the summer is pretty much, and we do get some rain in the winter, but not much. This is the white bird of paradise. It's pretty much drought tolerant. Crotons do not require a lot of water. And the lobelia palms, the pygmy date palms, you don't need to water them as well. So today's supposed to go up to 75 degrees, so that'll be nice. And I don't know if I mentioned yesterday, but next week, actually on Wednesday, I'm going to be I'm going to Rome, Italy, and I'm going to go to the botanical gardens there and film and do a video that I'll post on Sunday next week. Hopefully they'll have Hoyas. I don't know if they do, but they do have a nice big greenhouse, and I'm sure there's lots of tropical plants in there. So that should be interesting. I have never been in that greenhouse, even though I've been to Rome quite a few times. So some of this is a Bismarckia palm. Some of these palm fronds need to be cut, but as you can see, it's one of my favorite palms because it has like this silver color to it. Let me see if I can show you guys. Yeah, it has like, it's almost silver, bluish silver. And this medium is covered in bromeliads, crotons, plumbago, lots of drought tolerant plants. And this guy over here, I think he has 2 houses, and he's kind of the inspiration to what I want to do with the medium in front of my house, is pretty much put these bromeliads and some lobelia palms that are totally drought tolerant, so you don't have to do much after you plant them. And these bromeliads do divide quite a bit, and they put on a show. Different ones put on a show different time of the year, and some of them put on a show all the time because they have some really, really cool colors. So these are like 2 lots of really cool bromeliads, as you can see. And I think this is some kind of avocado tree here. Some avocados, I think they're kind of getting ready to be picked. There's some bromeliads. There's a staghorn fern, a pretty good sized one. There's some kind of orchid over there. And let's see, there's a really good size bromeliad here. I forget, I don't know the names of these. I'm not very well versed on bromeliad species, but there's quite a few. As you can see, this really nice garden. There's some really pretty neon looking ones. I really like the color on this pink and purple. Yeah, so there's lots of variety in bromeliads, and this guy has a really nice collection. And the backyard must be pretty amazing if the front yard looks like this. I've never met the guy. I've never been to his backyard, but maybe if I see him one day, I can ask if I can go back there and do a video for you guys. So this is a recently landscaped medium. They planted some ponytail palms. They have some bromeliads, and they have some perennials, and they have it nicely mulched with pine bark. I think I'm going to keep it more low maintenance than this. I probably won't add any perennials because they would require you to water more often. It'll have bromeliads, some palms, and some of these grasses. So that's going to be about it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and remember, next Sunday my next video is going to be from Rome, Italy, at their botanical garden. So please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And yeah, today I'm just going to do some projects around the yard, and then I'll probably go to Home Depot and buy some potting supplies and such. Other than that, I'm just gonna chill and enjoy the Sunday. I hope you do as well. And I hope to see you from Italy. Have a good day. Bye-bye.